at a time when investments are needed to jumpstart our economy and put people back to work. This deal and its cuts-only approach, which it is, it's the wrong approach. It's an outrage that as we stand here today that we could not raise the debt ceiling by voting for that. Thank you again. I intend to vote no on this bill.
Gentleman reserves the balance of his time. Gentleman from Maryland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from New Jersey who's been a big fighter in this battle, Mr. Andrews.
I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, what brings us together is a need to create jobs for the American people. And I think people would agree there's 3 things we have to do to create jobs. The first is not fall off a cliff and have a default on our national obligations. This bill accomplishes that. The second thing is to make sure we have an interest rate environment so that our businesses and entrepreneurs can create jobs so they have some predictability. By making a 25 to 30% down payment on reducing our deficit in a fair and equitable way, this bill does that. And finally, I think most of us agree that we need investments in our education, research and development, infrastructure, other activities to create jobs in our private sector for our people. By making sure that at least in the first 2 years of this agreement, that the reductions in those areas are either non-existent or moderate, I think that we give ourselves the freedom so our appropriators can put valuable investments forward in that way. This is a well-reasoned bipartisan agreement to create jobs for the American people. I urge a yes vote.
Gentleman from Wisconsin. Gentleman reserves the balance of his time. Gentleman from Maryland.
Mr. Speaker, may I inquire as to how much time is left?
Gentleman from Maryland has 2 minutes remaining. The gentleman from Wisconsin has 4 minutes remaining.
I'm going to take a minute unless, okay. Mr. Speaker, I yield myself 1 minute.
Gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, as I said at the outset, we should never have reached this point in our country. We should never reach the point when our troops wondered whether they were going to get paid or whether individuals on Social Security wondered whether they were going to see their earned benefits. That should never have happened. This is the first time in history that we've seen members of this Congress threaten to close down the American economy unless they got their particular budget plan through, one that ends the Medicare guarantee, slashes Medicaid, and would deeply cut our investments in education and innovation. We protected those investments in this bill. The plan did not work. It didn't work now, and the plan to do it again 6 months from now didn't work. So now we will have that great debate over our priorities. We're looking forward to it. Let's get on to talking about jobs and the economy. And with that, I yield 1 minute to the very distinguished Democratic leader who's been a fighter for America's priorities, Ms. Pelosi.
The distinguished minority leader is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the gentleman for yielding, and every chance I get, I want to salute him for his tremendous leadership as the top Democrat on the Budget Committee, for the work he did with Mr. Clyburn in the bipartisan talks as they strove to have what the American people want, a balanced, bipartisan, fair agreement to lift the debt ceiling and take America forward. Unfortunately, that did not happen. What did happen, and it brings to mind the existential question, why are we here? And I would divide, as we say in legislation, I would divide that question into why are we here and why are we here today? We are here because all of us in this body care about our country, have decided that public service is a noble pursuit, and that we have come here to make the future better for future generations. That is what our founding fathers visualized for America, that every generation would take responsibility to make the future better for the next. That's why, Mr. Speaker, Our founders, in addition to writing our founding documents, the Declaration, the Great Declaration, which embodies fairness in it and equality, and then the Constitution, they declared independence, they fought the greatest naval power in the world, they won, they wrote the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, making us the freest, greatest nation in the world, founded on a principle of respect that all people are created equal. That had never been done in the history of the world. And when they did that, they, as I've told you before, because I love it so much, they also created the Great Seal of the United States. And that Great Seal of the United States has on it, Novus Order Seclorum, a new order for the centuries, for the ages, forever. So confident were that our founders in their idea about one generational responsibility, one to the next, that they were confident that our country, that what they were putting forth would exist for the ages. For the ages. That was the challenge they gave us. That is the responsibility that we have. And for a couple of 100 years or more, that has always been the case. Every generation has always believed that it would make the future better for the next, for their children and for their grandchildren. We're here today because we believe that, and we believe that the public policy that we put forth, the legislation we put forth, should result in public policy that makes the future better for our children and our grandchildren. That we are committed to their education, the economic security of our families, the dignified retirement of our seniors, including my being a senior, and also the safety and security of their neighborhoods and of our country, and that we would do it in a fiscally sound way that did not give our kids any bills, public or personal. And so if we believe all of that, and that's why we are here in Congress, it's hard to believe that we are putting our best foot forward with the legislation that comes before us today. I'm not happy with it, but I'm proud of some of the accomplishments contained in it, and that's why I am voting for it. That takes me to the second question. Why are we here today? Why are we here today, within 24 hours of our nation going into default, after months of conversation about how we would address lifting the debt ceiling? Not to have future spending, but to pay our past obligations. And I won't go into it again, how we got here. But I will say that time is one of the most important commodities any of us had, the most precious, the most finite. And during that period of time, when our country could have been more productive, more optimistic, more confident in the tradition of our founders, instead a cloud of doubt placed on it because of the delay in lifting the debt ceiling. As my distinguished colleague, Mr. Van Hollen, said, this has never happened before. We've never tired the hands of a President of the United States. We never placed any doubt in the public markets as to whether this would happen. We never had people around the boardroom tables all wondering if we even knew what the consequences of our inaction. But I'm concerned about the boardroom table. I'm more concerned also about the kitchen table, because this delay and uncertainty has a tremendous impact on America's families as they sit around the table and talk about how they're going to make ends meet, how they're going to pay their bills. Is Social Security going to be intact for them? Will their checks arrive this week or next week, whenever they're due? Is Medicare and Medicaid something that they can count on? Well, after months and months of months to reach an agreement that could have been reached a long time ago. It's not so great it took so long to achieve. Could have been accomplished months ago, and at least had the merit of instilling confidence earlier, sooner, rather than at the latest possible moment. So we must make sure that we are, as we say, why are we here today, that we are not here some other day to go through these motions. And that's another reason why I'm supporting this bill, because the President was successful in impressing upon the Congress that we needed the full time, the 18 months, so that we can have the Americans' kitchen table, people sitting around that table and sitting around the boardroom table would all know that you can rely on the United States of America to meet its obligations. Okay? Another reason to support this bill, even though there are plenty of reasons not to, is that it stops cuts in Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. This is the most important assignment given to the Democratic leadership going to the table, is make sure there are no cuts in benefits in Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. That was achieved. Another issue of importance to us is that as we protect and defend our country, we also measure our strength in the health, education, and well-being of the American people. And so we have a 50-50 split between our expenditures for defense and our expenditures for strength defined in other ways for our country. So these are some reasons why those who may have the luxury of not wanting to vote for the bill, I feel a responsibility to do so. We cannot, because of certain objections in the bill, and one of the main ones is that there's not one red cent coming from America's wealthiest families and most successful people, and God bless them for their success. And I know that they are willing to do more, but not one red cent coming to help reduce the deficit, while we're willing to cut Title I education for the poorest children in America. And that's too bad for those children. It's terrible for our country. So, again, you can make a list of things in the bill that we do not like and things that are not in the bill, like revenue. But I urge my colleagues to think about our seniors and to think about the 18 months and what that means in terms of confidence in our society, and what it means also to have the 50-50 in terms of defining the strength of America. We cannot, despite our reluctance to vote for this bill for some of us, allow America's seniors and veterans who are depending on receiving their check from the government or their security over time. We cannot allow our seniors and veterans to be caught in the collateral damage of the assault on the middle class that is being waged in this Congress. This is one manifestation of making it harder for the future for the great middle class, which is, and those who aspire to it, which is the backbone of our democracy. So if we're going to honor the vows of our founders and carry on the great legacy and tradition of their optimism, their determination, their hope for the future, that we would last for ages, but we would last for ages as a democracy, not a ever-broadening disparity of income and equity in our country that undermines that democracy. So please, my colleagues, if you're on the fence about this, I certainly am and have been, even though I worked very hard to support the President in preserving what I said about no cuts in Medicare, Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, about the 18 months and about the 50-50 split. Please think of what could happen if we defaulted. Please, please, please come down in favor of, again, preventing the collateral damage from reaching our seniors and our veterans. I urge you to consider voting yes, but I completely respect the hesitation that members have about this. And again, I want to commend our distinguished colleague, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Clyburn, the President of the United States, and really those who tried to work in a bipartisan way to accomplish something. Now, I hear that our Republican colleagues have said they got 98% of what they want in the bill. I hope that their votes will reflect that. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance.
Gentleman from Maryland's time has expired. Gentleman from Wisconsin has 4 minutes remaining.
With that, Mr. Speaker, I will yield 2 minutes to Chairman of the House Republican Conference, Mr. Hensarling.
Gentleman from Texas recognized for 2 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. Mr. Speaker, the American people want more jobs and they want less debt. The American people are telling Washington, you got to quit spending money you don't have. You got to quit borrowing 42 cents on the dollar, much of it from the Chinese, and then send the bill to our children and our grandchildren. Our crisis today is not the debt ceiling, it is our debt, and it is a spending-driven debt. That is why we are here today, Mr. Speaker. I would like to say that this bill solves our problem. It doesn't. It's a solid first step. Nobody on our side of the aisle wants to increase this debt ceiling. It's not in our DNA. But we do believe that ultimately you ought to stay current on your bills. And you've got to quit spending money you don't have. And in this bill, although the sums are very, very small, when we pass this bill, if the President signs it into law, it'll be the first time in my lifetime, that for 2 years in a row we have actually cut discretionary spending in Washington, D.C. and made a very slight directional change in the right direction. The numbers are small, the directional change is huge. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, the seeds of the ultimate solution are planted in this bill, and that is the balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. The American people aren't looking for a balanced approach. They are looking for a balanced budget. And to have it work, it needs to be enshrined in our Constitution. This bill will assure for the first time in 15 years, both the House and the Senate vote on a balanced budget. Those are the seeds of the solution to save this country for the next generation. I urge adoption of this bill.
Gentleman from Wisconsin has 2 minutes remaining.
Mr. Speaker, I'll yield myself the remainder of the time.
Gentleman's recognized.
Let me just start off by saying this, Mr. Speaker. From this debate, it's very clear that we have difference of opinions. We have different philosophies on how to address these issues. But we're coming up to a deadline that we all must recognize, default. And so what this has done, it has brought our two parties together. And so I'd just like to take a second to reflect for a moment the fact that we have a bipartisan compromise here. That doesn't happen all that often around here, so I think it's worth noting. That's a good thing. First off, as my colleague from Texas just said, this is a down payment on the problem. It's a good step in the right direction. And it is a huge cultural change to this institution. Both parties got us in this mess. Both parties are going to have to work together to get us out of this mess. And the real problem, I would add, Mr. Speaker, is the fact that we spend way more money than we take in. We have to address that. To my friends on the left, I think they would like to take comfort in the fact that the way these spending cuts are designed and the way the sequester is designed. To my friends on the right, we are cutting spending. We've been trying to get discretionary caps in law for years. I've been here 13 years, trying for it every year. This is the first time. When we ran Congress, the last time we were in the majority, we couldn't even get it with a Republican Congress. Now we're getting discretionary caps. That's a big achievement. Number two, we used to just rubber stamp these debt limit increases. We used to sneak these debt limit increases in budget resolutions. Now it's out here in plain sight. And what are we doing? We're actually cutting spending while we do this. That's cultural. That's significant. That's a big step in the right direction. We're getting 2/3 of the cuts we wanted in our budget, and as far as I'm concerned, 66% in the right direction is a whole lot better than going in the wrong direction. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.
All time for debate on the bill has expired. Pursuant to House Resolution 384, the previous question is ordered on the bill as amended. The question is on third reading of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Third reading.
An act to make a technical amendment to the Education Sciences Reform Act of 2002.
For what purpose, the gentleman from Wisconsin rise?
Call the House.
Previous question being ordered. The chair notes the absence of a quorum in accord with Clause 7C of Rule 20 and chooses to entertain the motion for a call of the House pursuant to Clause 7B of Rule 20. Without objection, the call of the House is ordered. Members will have 15 minutes to record their presence by electronic device.
Ahead of a final vote on the debt ceiling bill, this is a call of the House, a quorum call, bringing members to the floor for that final vote, which will be next. That'll be a 15-minute vote as well. 15 minutes on the House floor for this, the final passage vote, and that will nearly do it for the House, at least for the August recess. Dan Friedman of National Journal is covering the debt debate up on Capitol Hill. Is there any doubt about the eventual outcome here in the House this evening?
Not much doubt. I wouldn't say there's no doubt whatsoever, but everyone seems pretty confident that this will go through with a lot of Republican votes and enough Democratic votes to ensure that it passes the House.
On the House side, are there any key members to watch how they vote?
I am not sure. I think everyone has been, there's always a good amount of members who are on the fence, but I don't think there's anyone whose vote is going to make or break this. I think it's going to go through with some votes to spare.
Assuming that it does pass the House tonight, how quickly will the Senate get to work on it?
It sounds likely the Senate won't vote tonight, although there's still some talk about that possibility, but that they would rather vote tomorrow. They haven't said exactly what time. They've said they believe they have until the end of the day on August 2nd, tomorrow, to get this done. So they would be sending it to the President at some point tomorrow, I would guess earlier in the day.
So as you see, the debate in the Senate could begin tonight, but no vote until tomorrow?
Yep, and they're going to need a unanimous consent agreement. All senators are going to have to agree to allow the vote to be tomorrow. So it would be likely that Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid would execute that unanimous consent agreement tomorrow, or tonight, excuse me.
Have you heard any indication that some Republicans may object, or Democrats or the independents may object to that unanimous consent?
It sounds like, maybe surprisingly to some people, that no, they will not object. even the opponents of this bill have said basically they're satisfied as long as there's a 60-vote threshold, which there will be, and some of them had asked for a day to review the bill, so they've gotten that now if the vote is tomorrow.
Dan Friedman with National Journal covering the debate. Thanks for that update.
Thanks for having me.
Again, back on the House floor, this is the call of the House, the quorum call, bringing members to the floor for the final passage vote on the debt ceiling bill, the Budget Control Act as it's called, and that'll be next. And we're going to open up our phone lines to get your thoughts. The numbers for Republicans, it's 202-585-3885. Democrats, 202-585-3886. Independents and others, 202-585-3887. Make sure that you mute your television when you call in. We say good evening to Hazleton, Pennsylvania. This is Chris on a Democrats line. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
You're on the air with us. Go ahead.
It's like me. I've been trying to put applications in places, and I never get a call back. It's like I hope they do the right thing for the people that are looking for jobs, because I've been trying.
How long you been out of work?
Probably like 4 or 5 months. I'm trying. It's like hard because I put applications back in the companies where I used to work at, and they don't want to hire you because you left, or they have other issues with that. Like the company leader says, well, you can't hire them or something like that.
The House is wrapping up work on the debt ceiling bill. What you're seeing is a call of the House, a quorum call. You often see those in the Senate, obviously, but this is a way to bring members to the floor. The final passage vote is next. It needs a simple majority to pass. Olathe, Kansas, on a Republican line, independent line. Hello to Max.
Hi. I'm glad they're getting something done because I get Social Security checks every month, and I need that money to be able to get through with my things I do.
Were you concerned that had the debt ceiling not been raised, you wouldn't get your Social Security check?
Yes, I am.
Ashland, Mississippi is next. Hi, Jan, Republican line.
No, I'm on the Democratic line.
Okay, well, go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, I'm on disability, and I get extra help. And I hope they don't touch the Social Security or the Medicare or Medicaid.
This is Tulare, California. This is our Republican line. And Catherine, welcome to the conversation.
Hi, I'm a Democrat.
Let me put you on hold. I need to get somebody on the Republican line. I'll go here to Shenandoah, Iowa. Mike, are you on our Republican line?
I am.
Okay.
I was hoping that they wouldn't touch Social Security. I'm just a little bit frustrated that the wealthiest people in America aren't stepping up and helping us out. I don't know why there's nothing in the bill for them to step forward and do their job like the rest of us do.
This final product of a bill, this is the end result of the negotiations. Again, late yesterday, President Obama agreeing with members of leaders of Congress to bring it to the floor today in the House. And as you heard from Dan Friedman, it's more than likely from his reporting that we're going to see a vote in the Senate tomorrow. Now to California. Tulare, California. Catherine, go ahead.
Yes. My view is pretty much the same as the rest of them. I have a lot of friends and family here in Tulare that are on Social Security and disability, and we're all so scared that nobody's going to get a check or that the rich aren't going to step up and help the economy like they should, because the middle class has always taken the blunt of everything, and the people that have worked hard and are now in retirement, plus our people in service, no food stamps for them that need it. I mean, what is this country going to come to when everybody is going to be without an income and out on the streets? I don't really think that's fair for us to have to sit and worry about who have worked hard all their lives, and this is their entitlement. We've paid in when we worked, and saying that we're going to be cut and not get our income, I don't think that's fair, which I don't think is fair for the ones that are coming up to the age
We'll let you go there, Catherine. Make sure, folks, when you call in, you mute your television. Here's Kansas City, Missouri. Patty is on our independent line.
Hi there. I have been unemployed since 2009, so I've had lots of time to become a political news junkie, and I watch all the shows, and I watch C-SPAN, and I watch the House and everything.
Yeah.
And somebody answer this question. To me, it's like I've got a Citi MasterCard. My credit limit is $15,000. So I can't arbitrarily just go out and shop and raise it up to say $50,000, and then call them and say, raise my limit. So the government has been doing this, and I just don't understand that. Is it because there's never been any controls in place, ever? Is that because it's kind of like spend and then raise, and then spend and raise?
Well, what do you make of this ultimate solution here, that they're going to raise the debt ceiling by $900 billion rather, and then it's a two-step process? Do you think that this satisfies the needs of both sides, or the interests of both sides?
Well, I think Obama and everybody was kind of held hostage because they decided, oh my goodness, we've got this debt ceiling thing.
Who held them hostage?
Well, the Republicans did, because they very well could have just said, oh, you know, it should have been a two-part thing. You know, raise this because we have to, because all these people are scared to death and all this, you know, drama and everything. And they connected it with, of course, we need a budget, because like I said again, I don't know why the government can run out and I guess it's because they don't have to set a budget. You know, kind of like MasterCard told me I can only spend $15,000 and that's it.
Comments from Patty in Kansas City, Missouri. What you're seeing is members registering their presence in a call of the House, a quorum call, just ahead of final passage vote on the Budget Control Act. Felisa Sonmez, who is one of the Washington Post reporters who covers Capitol Hill, writes that members of the Congressional Black Caucus, dissatisfied with the debt ceiling negotiated by President Obama and leaders in Congress, are planning a procedural move tonight that would require a majority of House Republicans to cast their votes on the measure before CBC members cast theirs. Maybe something to watch in the upcoming vote. Quote, a quorum of the House convened and agreed to abstain from voting until the majority of Republican members have voted on the debt ceiling package. That's according to Representative Andre Carson of Indiana, the caucus whip, in an email to CBC members this afternoon. We are going to continue to take your calls for a few more minutes here. This should be wrapping up shortly as members come to the floor. Next up is New York, and Jason is on our Republican line. Hi.
Hi. Actually, I'm from York, Pennsylvania.
From York, Pennsylvania. My apologies. Go ahead.
That's okay. I really support this because it's a good first step to reducing the deficit, and it's a good first step to helping get our possibly getting our economy on the right step.
Well, what about that second step where they create this special joint committee of members of Congress to come up with another, what is it, $1.2 trillion in cuts? Is that going to work out?
I think that it probably will in the end work out. It may take a little longer, but hopefully not too long. And I really hope it does work out, because we really need to reduce certain things. But however, we can't reduce like Social Security too much, or if not at all, especially Medicare and Medicaid. Because personally, I'm on Social Security due to disability, and I really have no choice but to be on that. And I really hope they pass this bill completely.
Next up, our Democrats line, Carol from New Jersey. Carol, is it Mount Morale?
Mount Laurel.
Mount Laurel, go ahead.
Mount Laurel, New Jersey.
Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Thank you. Thank you.
I believe that we have to curb spending, but I really think this is just so unfair that it's just the brunt of the middle class and the poor who are going to be, I call it taxed. When you have cuts that affect them, that's a tax on them, and nothing from the rich. I get upset when I see someone from Texas, and you have Exxon, and with all their profits and nothing coming back. You know, and people don't understand. Yes, there's going to be a lot of cuts, but cuts affect the people in this country. You know, people who are saying about Social Security, they don't want that touched. That's part of it. They're going to be touching other areas, people who subcontract with the government, services that are given to the people, services or funds that are given to the states. When these things are gone, who paves the roads? who pays for different kinds of things that need to be done. It's either going to be on the local level. We're going to get it any way it's going to come. If you need it, it's going to be taxed locally. It just doesn't go away. Need does not go away. And I think if you balanced it with some cuts and some extra funds coming in, you can eventually balance things out and things will work out. But you can't have a war and spend that freely and not think it's going to affect things that happen at home.
Thanks for your call, Carol. Miamisburg, Ohio. Ann on a Republican line.
Hi, I just have a comment. I would like to say that with the debt ceiling, that we would have a lot more income coming in if our unemployment rate wasn't so high. Maybe we should look at Obama's practices. And concerning the Tea Party, we are not second-class citizens. We are talked about like we are second-class citizens. We're not. We're hard-working taxpayers.
Do you think, Ann, in the end, the end result, this legislation will be viewed as a victory for Tea Party supporters?
It's kind of iffy. I don't know. I'd like to see more done, but we have to take, I guess, small bites at a time. And according to, on the subject of our corporate jets, which I'm so tired of hearing about, the busiest corporate jet in the whole country is what we call Air Force One. Why doesn't he stay home a couple of days and take care of business?
This is the call of the House, the quorum call bringing members to register their presence on the House floor ahead of a final passage vote on the debt ceiling bill. We'll continue to take your calls for a few more minutes. A tweet here from Felisa Sonmez. Again, she covers Congress for one of the reporters covering it for the Washington Post. She posts that Pat Toomey's office announces he's a no on the debt deal. That's Senator Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania. And if you want to keep a track of what members are saying, what reporters are writing or tweeting rather, you can do that easily at our Twitter site, twitter.com/cspan. And look for the list there and choose from those if you'd like to take a look. Philadelphia is next, and Mike on the independent line. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing okay.
All right. First, I want to state that I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. I am an American citizen. The Democrats and Republicans are only representation of our country. I don't know why Americans try to attach themselves to an L or an R. That's beyond me. But you know, I watched Nancy Pelosi sit here and actually say, not one red penny has come from the rich. Well, why aren't we making them pay the taxes they got to already pay? Why do we have to raise, if they're not paying as it is, what's raising it going to do? And you know, I don't hear any of them saying, I'll take a pay cut. I don't see one senator on that floor asking for their pay cut or their contribution towards this. They created the mess, but you don't see them offering any of their own. All I see the benefit from all this is that they're going to benefit from it. We're not going to benefit from any of this. I can't see how, the rich and the poor, it's just a class war that was created to put a scare into all of us.
We'll move on to Mississippi next. Charles, Mississippi, and Henry is on our Democrats line.
I'm Henry. How you doing?
Doing okay. Go ahead with your thoughts, Henry.
Look, I've listened to it since it's begun, and I know the debt ceiling needs to be raised, but I think what's going on here is whenever that second thing kicks in, that's when they're going to drop all the bombs to hammer down all the little people in America. They're going to get that $1.5 trillion out of the working people and out of cutting programs left and right, because there's no way they can get it out of anyone else unless they go to the rich. And I think all this process is all uncalled for. They should have raised the debt ceiling because this country is already in a bad situation, because down in Mississippi, you have more people on disability and Social Security and stuff than any state, probably in the United States of America. And Obamacare was a good idea. They're going to try to kill that, which they're going to do a good job at doing this year by doing that. If you take money out of the deficit and out of these programs, you ain't going to have no money to pay for it anyway.
Charles mentioned as part of this Budget Control Act, the debt ceiling bill, it calls for the creation of a joint congressional committee. That committee would be tasked with finding another $1.5 trillion in cuts, and this would be, and by Thanksgiving, by the way, this would be tied into that second step of raising the debt ceiling between 1.2 and 1.5 trillion in the second stage of this. It's also required in this bill that the House and Senate vote on a constitutional amendment to balance the budget. The previous version of the Boehner bill, anyway, had required that both houses pass that legislation. It was modified in this final version. Looks like they're winding down here. Members registering their presence again on the House floor before the final passage vote on the budget control bill. Here's Columbus, Ohio, and Kevin's on our Republican line.
Yeah, my name's actually Ken. Sorry about that.
It's my fault. I misread your name. So go ahead,
That's
Ken.
quite all right. It happens all the time.
Yeah, it does.
I'm actually a Republican, and I'm a veteran, and I get Social Security, and I'm only 39 years old. Okay, I'm a disabled veteran. And yet they're wanting to cut disabled benefits for veterans and for Social Security, and I've got a mortgage to make. And on Wednesday, I don't know if my mortgage payment is going to come because my Social Security check might not come because of this mess. And yet they're going to recess with all this mess still sitting out there. Last time I checked, if I took a vacation when my boss was in trouble and we had to save the company, I'd be fired on Thursday.
Ken was referring to the vacation, the August recess that the House will head to after votes this evening. A tweet here from Chad Program, who is a reporter and producer for Fox. Looking ahead to the upcoming final passage vote, he writes, expect to see a lot of Democrats either withhold their votes or vote present until substantial numbers of R's vote for the debt bill. That vote is coming up momentarily. Portland, Oregon is next on our independent line. Here's Dell.
Hi, this is Dell.
Yeah, Dell, go ahead.
This whole exercise is showing why I am an independent. The exercise we're seeing right now it's totally disgusting, it's embarrassing, and all it is a Band-Aid. We've got some smart people in this country, some brains. I don't understand why the cabinet, the president, hasn't pulled a team of people together that can come up with a good solution. What we really have here is a total broken system. We have career politicians. We need to move to term limits. The net worth of our senator here in Oregon has gone up $4 million in 4 years.
Which senator is that? Which one are you referring to?
Senator Wyden. They have. They can take this inside information and what they're doing right now. They can trade stocks and do anything they want, and there is no law against it. Yet we can put people on Wall Street in jail. My answer, my solution is this. We need a flat tax, a tax that taxes every single American, because we all benefit from this government.
That's Dell in Portland. A couple more calls here. New Bern, North Carolina. Next up, Dottie, Democratic caller.
Hello.
Hey
I'm
there.
a Democrat getting ready to change to independent, and I agree with the previous caller that they need term limits, and at the end of their term limits, I don't know whether everybody knows it, but when they go out of office, they receive their same payment. They receive free health care for life. I don't understand how they can stay in there and say they're helping the American people. They're putting Nancy Pelosi as chair of this commission that's going to be upcoming. What happened to the stimulus bill? Somebody go back and read the stimulus bill and check it like I did. Her husband's farm in Guam, $30 million.
Thank you, Dottie. We're going to see if we can get one more call here. Claire in Costa Mesa, California. Quick comment on a Republican line. Go ahead, Claire.
Yes, hi. I am disgusted seeing what's going on right now. I was a faithful, I've been a faithful Republican, but I'm ready to also change to independent, because for the last 10 years I've been injured, and for the last 8 years I've been denied through social.
We're going to let you have the last word.
419 members having been recorded present. The quorum is present. The question is on passage of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Gentleman from North Carolina.
Mr. Speaker, I ask for a recorded vote.
Recorded vote is requested. Those in support of the request for a recorded vote will rise. Sufficient number having arisen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This will be a 15-minute vote.
The House moves on to final passage of the Budget Control Act, a bill that raises the debt ceiling by $2.4 trillion in two phases, $900 billion now and $1.2 to $1.5 trillion later. It also establishes a joint congressional committee to find another $1.5 trillion in cuts by Thanksgiving. If that committee recommendations fail, an automatic $1.2 trillion across-the-board spending cut happens in 2013. It also requires that the House and Senate vote on a constitutional amendment to balance the budget, and the legislation reduces budget deficits by at least $2.3 trillion over 10 years between 2012 and 2021. This is final passage. You're watching final passage vote on the debt ceiling bill. This is a 15-minute vote, and it needs a simple majority to pass. Now, that number could be anywhere between, say, 215, 218. Just depends on the number of those present and voting. The other night, on the Boehner bill, it was 215 was the majority needed. We read a story earlier from the Washington Post that members of the Congressional Black Caucus had mentioned they were going to withhold their vote and not vote present until such time, not vote or vote present until such time that Republicans had voted. Their reason being they would like to see the Republicans have to pass this bill. Again, it's got to get up to 215, 216, 218. Chuck Todd reiterates that, echoes that a bit in a tweet just a few minutes ago. He says, so House Democrats decided to hold off on their votes and let GOP max out. That's what you're seeing underway as the House continues with its vote. Again, it's a 15-minute vote. And again, over halfway through the 15-minute vote on final passage on the debt ceiling bill, which raises fairly rapidly $900 billion, the debt ceiling, but overall up to $2.4 trillion. David Drucker, who writes for Roll Call, tweets that 140 Republicans voting yes right now. Also, just a few minutes ago, that Chuck Todd had tweeted that it's a test of wills now between the two party whips. You can follow yourself some of what the congressional reporters are saying, and they're members of Congress, too. If you go to our website, twitter.com site anyway, twitter.com/cspan, we have lists there of members of Congress and people who are covering Capitol Hill. This is a 15-minute vote, but it can and often does run longer. So, again, they're looking for the majority here. A simple majority is all that's needed to pass. Some applause breaking out on the House floor. That is not for passage. Again, they need a simple majority to pass the debt ceiling bill. It is possible it has something to do with Gabrielle Giffords. We don't know, but her office just tweeted out the message that Gabrielle has returned to Washington to support a bipartisan bill to prevent economic crisis. Turn on C-SPAN now. That from Gabrielle Giffords' office.
On this vote, the ayes are